Hello, everybody. Today is May 8th. We're looking at reflections from the prayer of recollection with Luke 24:13 through 33. So I'm going to read that for us. Ready? That same day, two of Jesus' followers were walking to the village of Emmaus, 7 miles from Jerusalem. As they walked along, they were talking about everything that had happened. As they talked and discussed these things, Jesus himself suddenly came and began walking with them. But God kept them from recognizing him. He asked them, "What are you discussing so intently as you walk along?" They stopped short, sadness written across their faces. Then one of them, Cleopas, replied, "You must be the only person in Jerusalem who hasn't heard about all the things that have happened there in the last few days." "What things?" Jesus asked. "The things that happened to Jesus, the man from Nazareth," they said. "He was a prophet who did powerful miracles, and he was a mighty teacher in the eyes of God and all the people. But our leading priests and other religious leaders handed him over to be condemned to death, and they crucified him. We had hoped he was the Messiah who would come to rescue Israel. This all happened 3 days ago. Then some women from our group of followers were at his tomb early this morning, and they came back with an amazing report. They said his body was missing, and they had seen angels who told them Jesus was alive. Some of our men ran out to see, and sure enough, his body was gone, just as the women had said." Then Jesus said to them, "You foolish people, you find it so hard to believe all that the prophets wrote in the scriptures. Wasn't it clearly predicted that the Messiah would have to suffer all these things before entering his glory?" Then Jesus took them through the writings of Moses and all the prophets, explaining from all the scriptures the things concerning himself. By this time, they were nearing Emmaus and the end of their journey. Jesus acted as if he were going on, but they begged him, stay the night with us, since it's getting late."
Okay, fine, said Jesus.
Guess what? Anna's with me.
Surprise.
She's kind of grouchy today, so she was hiding.
Fine. Okay, you go back to you.
Back to me.
Okay, fine, said Jesus.
So they went home with him, and they sat down to eat. He took the bread and blessed it. Then he broke it and gave it to them. Suddenly, their eyes were open and they recognized him. And at that moment, he disappeared.
There's an exclamation point.
He disappeared.
That's good.
They said to each other, "Didn't our hearts burn within us as he talked to us on the road and explained the scriptures to us?" You're wiggling my camera with your feet.
That's how it always is.
That little wiggle, that's Anna's feet.
They're probably missing it.
Let's see. Let's read that part again. It was good. "Didn't our hearts burn within us as he talked to us on the road and explained the scriptures to us?" And within the hour they were on their way back to Jerusalem. There they found the 11 disciples and the others who had gathered with them, who said, "The Lord has really risen. He appeared to Peter." Okay, so, first of all, I think it's kind of cool that it says God kept them from recognizing him. It's kind of like God and Jesus were doing a sting together, and they had this whole thing worked out. That was kind of cool. And then I did read the commentary on this. It had some interesting...
I thought it was uncool.
She didn't like that. You want to tell us about that, Anna?
I didn't think that was cool. I didn't like it, and I didn't understand why they didn't get it, why it took them so long to get it. And Martha thinks it's about people not understanding things, but I don't know. Maybe the meaning is hidden from me.
Maybe.
I think it's mean that God does that. I don't think he should. Because Jesus already did. He has no reason to do that for them. So I don't know if he's still hiding the meaning from them, or if they're really dumb and they can't figure it out. I don't know.
So one of the things the commentary said that I thought was really interesting was that they used they saw the fact that Jesus died as a reason to believe he wasn't the Messiah.
But they thought he was back alive. Why did they not think he was back alive?
I don't get that. I told Anna I think it has to do with all of our abilities.
The women were
tendency.
like, he's alive, and they confirmed that the body was gone.
Yeah. But we, and I speak from my own personal self, have the ability to ignore the obvious. I know I've done that.
I just don't understand.
So he was, what the commentary said was that Jesus' death should have actually been confirmation to them that he was the Messiah.
I know, right?
Not that he was. Do you not want me to point it at you?
I just said that.
Yes.
What you just said.
Yes, what Anna just said. That's what I'm talking about. I'm saying what she just said.
That's what I'm talking about.
It should have actually proved to them that he was the Messiah, but instead they let it disprove it, which
doesn't make any sense.
So anyway, I would have loved to have been a fly on their backpack when Jesus unpacked the whole Old Testament for them about himself. Like, how cool would that have been?
Why didn't they write that down? I probably forgot exactly what.
Yeah. One of the Gospels said that the Gospel writer said I could go on writing stories about Jesus, but it would take more books than the earth could hold.
Probably John.
Maybe John. You can tell him the big news? You can tell him our big news?
John, you tell him.
No, you tell him. No, you tell him. No, you tell him. No, you. Okay, we're gonna rock paper. Here, hold your hand wide so we can both open because I'm doing the camera.
Okay.
Wait, I hit this part. You hit that part.
Okay. They can't see us so blown out.
It's pretty blown out.
Here we go. Ready? Paper, scissors, shoot.
She's gonna tell you.
Okay, we're gonna read John next.
That's the big
Martha
news.
wanted us to read Matthew.
Yeah.
And I said, let's read the little blurb about them both. And we decided that we want to read John.
Yeah. Look, I'm white as a ghost. Can I fix it? A little bit. So, let's see. Oh, yeah, fly on the backpack. I would have loved to have heard Jesus explain all of that. That would have been very cool. And then we've been kicking around whether it was unethical of Jesus to pretend like he was going on when he really was just there to talk to them. But one of the things I read said that in that culture, it wasn't safe to travel on that road at night because of robbers and stuff. And it also was considered inappropriate to not ask a traveler to spend the night, and keep them safe from the robbers. So when he made it look like he was going on, he laid out the opportunity for them to ask him in where he could reveal his identity.
So we just are not sure about that.
So we don't know about that. Well, I know it was right. I know it was good, because otherwise Jesus wouldn't have done it. So,
I have a face on my hand.
Let's see if I can get it better. There.
Ah!
I was reading once, I think it was from Oswald Chambers, about, he said basically, I wish I could remember what he was so articulate. He said basically that there are so many examples in the Bible, in the New Testament, of Christians and Christians acting in different ways that appear to be contradictory choices about ethically speaking, that you can't really lay out a book of, or a list of shoulds and shouldn'ts per se. It's about, how did he describe it? It was like, it's about the Christian character, the Christian faith and character. Oh, I just can't put words to it. Anyways, he was basically
saying, what God wants you to do.
Yeah, kind of that. If you have the faith and character of Christ, that it will vary from situation to situation. It's not like you can just lay out, you can never act like you're doing one thing when you're really hoping to do another.
I haven't read it.
She's just helping from her brain.
Yeah.
So, and I was thinking
You're
about...
way pointing it on me.
Oh, sorry. I was thinking about how it was interesting that he disappeared. There we go. He disappeared right after he revealed himself, just like a Harry Potter moment. And why would he do that?
Luke put an exclamation point in there.
He did. Luke put an exclamation point in there. And I think that, I was trying to imagine if he hadn't disappeared, they might have been like, oh, Jesus, you're here. It's so awesome. We're so happy and all excited and stuff. But when he left, I think it may have left them more to wrestle with where they were at, what kind of this process of disbelief that they'd gone through, and the doubts that they had had. And Anna and I were even talking about how a chicken or a baby bird, when it's hatching from its
Martha
egg,
came up with this.
actually, yeah. But Michael actually came up with this. He was actually talking about our daughter Lizzie and some college decision she was making, that it's like the bird hatching from its egg. That you have to go through the struggle to get the strength you need
The
for
bird,
what's
tell
ahead.
them about the thing about don't open it for the bird.
Yeah, in fact, I think I've heard that if you open a bird's egg for it, instead of letting it hatch itself out, that you will actually kind of disable the bird, because it needed to do that to get its muscles and strength ready for its life and to start preparing to fly. So I think that these people kind of needed to hatch out of their egg and see, they needed to get the, like, if we all have this tendency to deny the obvious, we need to be able to see that clearly enough to know what Jesus needs to transform in us. And they needed to see that. And if he had stayed and they had just had a whole excited big party, they might have got distracted from thinking about what their character really was, and how they had, basically messed up in that situation. The last thing I wanted to talk about, I love the sentence that says, "Didn't our hearts burn within us as he talked on the road and explained the scriptures to us?" And I was kind of thinking about, what exactly does that mean when they say our hearts burn? That heartburn. I've had some heartburn in the past.
Didn't we have heartburn on the road when Jesus talked to us?
Yeah. And I was thinking about like interest and excitement and insight and revelation and kind of that eureka moment, And then it was very interesting to me. A day or two ago, I was listening to Dallas Willard, and he was talking. Dillard, the famous Dillard. He was talking about a famous passage. I can't remember who it was, like John Wesley or someone. But anyways, you may have heard it when I tell you what it says. It talks about how he goes out and spends time alone with Jesus, and as he reads the scriptures, how it moves him in such a way that he sometimes just weeps for hours over the scriptures. And Dillard was talking about the difference between reading for knowledge and reading for your heart. And
reading for your heart.
And maybe that's kind of what's at play here. They had always read maybe for knowledge, maybe not even for knowledge, because it seems like, and I get that. I read the Bible so many times growing up and in my early adult life that was in one ear and out the other.
In one eye and out the other.
In one eye and out the other. But it's different when you hear it with your heart and you're in that sense of heartburn that we were talking about. That's really cool. I love that. I love that image of the heart burning. And it's just interesting. So the thing that Dallas Willard was reading and talking about, the guy that he was quoting literally said that his heart burns when he reads the scriptures. And I was like, oh, that's exactly what it said in Luke.
So maybe someday when we get heartburn, we'll know we made it.
Yeah, that's right. We love you, Jesus. Bye.